switches and having random people at random places, either through necessity or through, well, let's try it because nothing else has stuck, so let's give this a go. I mean, the turnover is ridiculous.
We could take longer than we take on any other team just listing all the players that have come in and out.
I mean, there's people I've forgotten had gone. I mean, you on the list you prepared for us, you've forgotten Craig Hall.
There must be others.
The one that actually matters. There probably are. I just couldn't be bothered to go through it, to be honest. But just looking at the game, I mean,
I guess I could have put Scruton on there, couldn't I? He's a loss from the first half of last season, effective in theory.
I mean, there's people in the games I'd not even heard of. And it's just like, what are you doing? I think Matty Parcell is still under a bit of an injury cloud. So I think he has been training, but I think it's still question marks whether he'll be back in the side straight away.
Isn't he suspended for the first game of the season as well?
Probably, yeah. So there'll be questions there. I think there's not a settled feel anywhere on the pitch at the moment. There's nowhere that you can say, oh, well, they'll definitely be in the team, partly because of this huge recruit. I suppose the only one probably is Sean Kenny-Dowell, just because we feel like we have to.
Yeah, and Quinlan, I guess, is a
Quinlan, if he's fit, I suppose, is the $1 million question.
So then I'll say Mitch Garbutt as well, and you'll say if he's fit, and then we'll say
yeah.
We're laughing a lot about Hooker. We probably
That's all I've got left. Don't take the laughter away.
We've probably just got to take a serious second, though. I mean, Mossy Maso gone for his career, really sadly and tragically, in that ludicrously innocuous see them 50 times a game tackle on the goal line, but also the two other probably experienced players in the pack that are expected to be your leaders in Weller Haraki and Dean Hadley are out for at least the first month to 6 weeks of the season, maybe up to 3 months, depending on how they recover, and they're older, so probably not fast in that regard. You've already got an injury crisis, haven't you? What's going to happen?
We're going to see wingers at prop or something crazy. I mean, to take the serious point for a second, it's beyond terrible with Mossy, and some people, because he's a player that I've got this massive affection for, that you could always tell he was trying, even when he possibly wasn't fully necessarily the best player or even necessarily the most skillful player. I think you could always see that he was doing his best of whatever, and some of those memories you've got of him just barging over and just charging over, and about 10 people failing to stop him and just trying to put their hands in his face because that's all they've got left, will stay with me. And it's just horrible for him, and I really hope he gets in a position where he can have a decent, functional life. Yeah. And I hope that happens for him, because he does deserve it. And you never know what's going to happen, and let's hope that everything's on his side, because he does deserve that. I think Weller Haraki is another miss, because he was nailed on as assistant captain or captain. I can't remember which way around they were doing it.
Sneaky good season from him last year as well, in a 11th place in the league season. The listeners have got you finishing 12th. On the cumulative totaling up of everyone's listeners' predictions for the league table. You've got them finishing 12th. Alan?
12th.
Sarah?
12th.
I've got them finishing 12th as well. The one note I made is they've got the makings of a good young championship squad.
Yeah, well, the signed half of the Bradford team, so good luck with that.
What do you think of those players, though? Obviously, you'll have paid attention to them over the last year or two in their development. People like Ethan Ryan, Matty Staunton. I've never even heard of Anisu Mudoti, but Rowan Milnes, he looks a talent. What do you think of those guys, Al? Do you think they're ready for the step up at all?
Ethan Ryan is. For me, Ethan Ryan should be on one of your wings. Elliot Minchella is an excellent player. Showed it in flashes in the kind of cup run last year. But it's not a good look when you're signing, several players from the Championship, and the way that injuries are running, several of them are probably going to be on the field. So it's not looking promising.
No.
I suppose that the other main question is, what will be Tony Smith's most bonkers excuse? We should have done that as a slot on the prediction, because there will be a cracker in there somewhere.
A bit of a spoiler for next Monday's first return of the regular shows. We're going to do some of the say what predictions that people made in the 2020 fan predictions, and there's an absolute cracker as relates to Hulk AR and Tony Smith. So that's a teaser for Monday's show. But yeah, excuses will be prepared, I'm sure. Doesn't look promising from everyone's predictions position for Hulk AR, but it's just stuff to pin on the dressing room wall, I suppose. Sarah's had to dip out, so just the three guys left to go through. Next up, Leeds Rhinos on the list of teams. So let's start with their fan views of what their own fans expect from their side this year. And we're going to start with Bradley Asquith, who expects massive improvement and a cup run a year too early for Super League glory, though. Tim.
Dave Sinclair says, didn't he have a one-hit wonder?
What, the Sinclair C5?
No,
I suppose it was a one-hit wonder, but it was a car. That was Clive Sinclair, wasn't it?
Feel the love. Oh, it's Bob Sinclair. Feel the love. All that, yeah. Dave Sinclair says, one word, mediocrity.
Al.
And it's catching because Dom's.
You broke up there, Al. What did Dom say?
He just said mediocrity. He had no more to say.
Dr. Bob Phillips said, just about holding their own and settling a 5th place finish, but with a blinding cup performance that gets them silverware.
James Bedford says mid-table mediocrity with a decent cup run, but after last year I'd be happy to take that.
Joe Francis says Challenge Cup quarter-final, 5th in the league, building blocks for next year.
Josh says, a slow start to the season with Gale getting back into the swing of things. Another good year for the young lads of the team, all over a mediocrity and mid-table finish.
Pad says top 4 and a trophy.
A bit more positive there. Paul Wilson says, much depends on Gale as the squad looks no better than last season. We might sneak playoffs, but I'm going for a more realistic 7th.
Phil says, Leeds Rhinos have made some intriguing signings, and with the talented youngsters breaking through from our academy, I'm expecting a better season than 2019. If we can keep injuries down to a minimum, I'm hoping for a top 5 finish.
And Rich Wilkinson says, I expect to be in a battle for 5th to 8th if players stay fit. We need to sign a couple of top forwards. If we have injuries to key men, we will be in a relegation dogfight. If it's shit by Easter, Agar is gone. If it's good, a cheeky cup run might be on the cards. In short, I have no fucking clue what will be set up at Headingley. My heart says they all play like champions for Borough, and that will be our edge. I think there's something in that. It's that weird mythology that Leeds have about them, and I think that they might be able to harness that in a way that really works for them. So I'm wondering if that does something. I don't know.
But you've tipped and finish 8th.
Well, that was... Yeah, but... Yeah. Because what I'm known for is really good predictions. If we've learned anything, it's that...
Yeah. Fair shout. Well, they finished 8th last year, so you're just going with trend. They've had a... Similar to when we were talking about Catalans before, they've lost a lot of players, but I'm looking at it and thinking, yeah, Parcells a bit of a loss, but Cruz Leeming is a very good replacement there. Brad Singleton maybe, but Matt Pryor is kind of the replacement there, so I think that's an upgrade for maybe a year or two, not necessarily long term. And Alex Mellor, I think, is a massive upgrade on the likes of Brett Ferris and who didn't play last year, Carl Ablett. So probably more on the optimistic side from me, even though I'm going to say 6th. I don't think they're quite ready to break into that top echelon again, but I think they'll be mid-table and they'll be threatening. I had the opportunity to see a bit of Leeds because obviously we saw that pre-season game on TV, the very emotional and well put together Rob Burrow JJB testimonial tribute game. And then I saw them obviously play against Wigan too, and I was kind of impressed with what I saw. Gale played against Wigan, and I do think they've got a better level of organisation in attack and variety, I think, that could make them more potent in attack. Maybe they'll have to wait till Leeming's injury resolves itself, because one thing I did see was a hell of a lot of forward passes from dummy half in the game against Wigan, but I think they've got a well-balanced squad, and it still feels like a team in transition, so that's why maybe not ready to win stuff yet, but
it's a weird half-back pairing, isn't it? With Robert Louis and Luke Gale, it's an odd pairing. And they could work. They could because they do have quite complementary skills in some respects. So
Louis
it could come off.
Slowing down, isn't he?
Well, he was never exactly racy to start with, but he has certainly watching the pre-season game. He looked a little bit heavier and a little bit slower.
Gale
even than he was last year.
Control against Wigan though, so I think he will be playing second foil. And then they've still got Myler as a different option, and young Callum McClelland as well. I think we might see start to break through. I was impressed. I think they will look better than last year. I think their main weakness last year was goal line defence, and I don't know if they've sorted that out. I wouldn't be surprised if they were the team that kind of Salforded it and made that run from the teams that finished lower down last year to be the playoff team, or even a cup run. I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't expect it necessarily either. So Luke Gale's definitely going to be the star man, though. If he stays fit and plays every week, he's going to do well in all the voting for all the Goldthorpes and Man of Steels and all of that stuff. And I'm excited to see the continued development of Harry Newman, who has got a starting shirt number this year, and he's arguably one of the best 2 teenagers in the competition right now. 2 or 3 teenagers in the competition. So yeah, I've got them finishing 6th though. Sarah had them finishing 6th as well, and the listeners have them finishing 6th. But Alan, what do you think?
I've been a bit more positive, which is a bit weird. But anyway, I've got them 4th. It'd be interesting to see whether McClelland actually gets a bit of a run. There's something to argue. Him and Gale together might not be a bad combination. I'm just a bit more positive. I think they might pull it around a little bit and finish 4th.
Well, Leeds fans will be excited if that's the case, I think. Right, Salford Red Devils, last year's surprise package. Mark Ryan, their first fan view from them, says he expects Salford that Salford can repeat last season's heroics, but they need to keep the squad fit. He's going for a top 8 finish, which he thinks will be progress. I guess overall consistency-based progress there.
Maybe so. Paul Foster says, after last season's amazing achievements, with us losing Hastings, I feel anything around 5th to 8th would be regarded as a top year. The pack has been bolstered in terms of size. I see no reason why we can't upset people again.
And Pete Johnson says, difficult to improve on last year, but I believe we'll have a good solid season and perhaps get to Wembley.
Lots of changes in the squad, and the key ones are Jackson Hastings and Josh Jones, who were 2 of their best 3 or 4 players last year, leaving the side. And Logan Tompkins as well, I think, is a sneaky big loss, actually, to them. And George Griffin was a very solid player for the last 2 seasons for Salford, but they've brought in loads. James Greenwood, Sebe Kahifo, Paulie. They're some of the forwards they've brought in. Dan Sargentson, I think, is a fantastic player still in his career. Chris Atkin and Kevin Brown bolster the halfback options. Kieran Williams coming from London. Astor's Luke Yates, who was one of the surprise packages last year, maybe in the Super League. Certainly a heavy defending effort. The listeners have predicted 8th as a cumulative total. I think we're all kind of in that mid-table ish region, not threatened with the relegation, but not going to make the playoffs. Sarah had them 7th. Tim, you've gone more positive, I think, overall.